Alright, paint stripping is proceeding, and so we've got multiple kinds of paint that were used on this, and they don't all use the same stripper to get them off. So the top that had this kind of a pavement color to it, the citrus stripper worked pretty good on that. The grills have a white paint in them that I'm having some trouble getting out, and so I'm using the heavy duty clean strip, and that seems to be doing the job, but they're still getting a little tough. Now, yes, I can throw this in ultrasonic, but I just changed the ultrasonic fluids to clean parts, and I want to get as much paint off of this as I can before I do that. Then it's going in the ultrasonic, which will get rid of, that'll get rid of anything that's left. And then we can get to polishing. This thing's in polish, sweet. Now, look at the all the add-on details, like all these steps. They're going to come off. And fortunately, whoever did this, they just glued them on with what looks like Walther's goop. So they come out, and they're going to go in the little wire basket and get polished up separately. The blue, the alcohol did not totally take off the blue. It weakened it, and the clean strip did a pretty decent, or the citrus cleaner did a decent job. Didn't get it all. The clean strip is a little better, and you know what? You can't use clean strip unless it's metal. And the clean strip is working hard on getting this white paint out of here. And so when we do this, I'm going to mask that off, and I am not going to even primer the grills, because I really want the grills to stand out. So they're going to get nothing but probably panel liner in them. What I have in mind is, right now I have in mind brown panel liner. Or I'll make a brown mix on the wet palette, which is super thin, and put that in there. And then the grills will still be kind of a metal color. And so we should get a pretty neat effect on that. I'll tell you what, let me get this paint off and I can get down to polishing, which I love to do. This thing is going to be sweet. Now I can see on the top here, there's a mold line that runs down this. And part of it, they attempted to file it off. Now, I can polish that and I can do a better job so it's completely gone. And we're going to do that. And otherwise, this is going in the ultrasonic in a couple minutes. And so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to do that stuff off camera, and then I'll come back and we'll start again. So that you can see from right now, we're going to switch over to it being cleaned, stripped of paint, and I'm going to show you how I polish. We are ready to go into the ultrasonic. I want to point out a couple of cool things. One, so here are the fine details. So the screen, where's my tweezers? The screen, let's take a look at it. Sweet feature. This is like on a brass locomotive. Here's the screen. It was held in with a little spring ring. I can't remember. There's a word for these, and I can't think of it at the moment, but there's a word for that. Okay, so all I had to do is just pull that with a dental pick, and it comes out, and that means I can put it back in the same way. That's sweet. Okay, the ladders. The ladders had some, like, Walther's goop on them. But the ladders have a little nub on the end. You see that? It's like a little rivet. So basically they were in there, and then right there they were peened on the end, so they would stay in, and they were pretty easy to get out. You wiggle them a little bit, and then they came out. But the one that was here with the same thing, that one was a little harder. It was harder until I figured out how to do it. Then it was super easy, and I'm going to show you how you do it. Okay, so this is the one. So this goes over it goes in the slot, fuel tank, and that little thing, little rivet fits up in that hole, and it gets peened. All right, what I did was I first took a pin vise and started drilling the paint. There's paint around it. Drill that out. I could wiggle a little bit, but I couldn't get it to come out. So I thought, okay, let's take it over the drill press and drill it. As soon as so I put the correct drill bit in there, and I don't know what it was. It's, in theory, it's about a 1/16 drill bit. It may be one smaller. It could be one that came from the Katie kit for the, what is that kit called? Let's see. I'm going to show you what it was. The 246 tap and drill. It might have been one of these two. And so that drill bit was black in color, making me think it was number 43. So what does our chart say a number 43 is? A number 43 is smaller than a 3/64 and bigger than a 1/32 and smaller than a 1/16. So it was probably the number 43. Recently at Harbor Freight, I got a drill index set, which is an awesome set. It was like 16 bucks, and it's got all the drill bits, the numbered drill bits. And I went on the internet and I found a drill size chart, and I put it up on the bulletin board right there. So now I can look up drill bits whenever I want to. All right, so where were we? Let's take a look again. Oh yeah, for those of you who are not familiar with my workbench, see that? I got mirrors on it. Why did I put mirrors behind it? Because my previous workbench had a giant window in front of it, looked outside, and I loved that. And I kind of wanted something like that. The mirrors make it feel like it's bigger. It's kind of a neat effect. I like it anyways. Plus it also, I don't stack up parts and things against the back wall. Except for all those nuts I use for various purposes. That's it. If I ever rebuild my workbench, or if let's say I move and get a new place, a bigger place, I will definitely be doing the mirrors again. All right, back to this thing. All right, the one part that is not going in the ultrasonic is this on the Lindsay instructions. It says that this is a lost wax, and possibly it's silver. So I don't know what I think it is silver. I don't know what the ultrasonic would do to that. So I'm going to keep that out. I can polish that by hand. A little silver polish. Anyways, so all the details are out. What's cool is some of the details in here. There's one. Some of the details are actually screwed on. You see that one that just tipped over with the hole in the back? It has a screw that goes from the underside. And then there was another one right, where's my pointer? Right here. That was kind of screwed in. I don't know what it was. I think it was broke off. It was in there and I pulled it out. It's in the basket. I'm going to have to look and see what that actually is to see if it's broken or if it's intact. Did I have one horn? Oh yes, I did have one horn. So I got one horn here. That should go in there. That should get cleaned. Alright, now we're going in the ultrasonic to get this thing super, super clean. And then we'll be back in a little bit to start the polishing. Alright, I'm in the middle of polishing. And polishing is very boring to watch. But I want to show you kind of where we're going with this. Okay. So, if you're going to do this, the way to start out, so this is diecast metal. Noxon is the appropriate stuff, but Mother's Mag and aluminum it's the finer stuff. So we're going to want to hit it with the Noxon first. And I've done a little bit already. And so you put some on there. Take a soft toothbrush. And you're going to start out doing this. And this is going to get the oxidation. You just keep on working. That's going to start drying up on you. and then you go wash it off in the sink. When you're metal polishing, usually you want to use, especially if it's brass, cold water. Wash off with cold water with dish soap, and then you start again. So, and like I said, I used the Harbor Freight 3-inch grinder with the buffer on it, and I buffed out the mold line on the top, and then I used a little file in a couple places to get the rest of it. You can just barely see traces of it right here, right there, and right there. I'm going to leave them because I don't want to do too much filing. You get too aggressive with the file and you can't get out the scratches. And unfortunately, the scratches that were on here from whoever did this way back when, I got those out with the buffing wheel. Now, a very wise man who once said that there is no amount of labor that you can do that will ever match the power of using a machine. You know how I stumbled across that? I wanted to wax a car with turtle wax one time. I looked up how to do it. And car detailer guy said, you just don't do it. You use a modern product and you use a buffer. Because your labor, you're going to spend all day and felt like you do something, it still isn't going to amount to 2 minutes with the buffer. He's a pretty smart guy. And you're right about that. So I'm just getting off the oxidation. The real polishing work, I use the Moto tool with one of these things on it. And then sometimes I'll switch to this. And this thing will get, we can make this as shiny as glass if we want to. I don't know if I want to go that far, but I'm going to make it really shiny. Yep, I'm going to make it really shiny, and then I'm going to paint it. And I'm going to take a picture of it first, though. Because I want to see what this thing looks like. Remember when I said about discovering the details that are already there? Well, I've discovered a bunch of details, especially like down here on the fuel filler. It's got some cool details. This little vent right here has got some hinges. And so I'm going to get back to it, and then I will show you a little bit in a little while how far I got. There it is, Lindsay FA2, all polished up. Now you know why I got so excited about doing a die-cast FA2. Look at that. Is that not just a work of art? That's going to be so cool. And polished up. Polished up. That is a beauty. I love it. It's going to be fantastic. And we're going to give it a try. We're going to try the new lacquer-based primer on this and see how it goes. Now that I got it all polished up, I ain't worried about it. If the paint screws up, into the Ultrasonic goes, and it'll just come out like this again. So we are ready to roll on this thing. It's going to be a beauty. And the detail on here, on these screens, the detail on the screens is great. I'm not going to paint those at all. What I'm going to do is when I'm done, I'm going to just panel line them and leave them. Be ashamed to cover those up. Beauty. Beauty, that's what it is.